All right, here we go. It's fine, Doug. Let's go with it. If it's noisy, they'll know about it. Okay, here we go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Talk Story. I'm Doug.
And I'm Pete, and this is
Jay McCarl.
Jay McCarl.
Very special
Who
guest.
is Jay McCarl, you might ask?
Well, we are here at the Endure Conference, which is a prophecy conference that's happening on the Big Island. We finally did it. We finally came outside.
That's Hilo. Oh, well, that's the bay at Hilo, anyway.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And you know what else is cool?
What?
We've got new t-shirts. It says,
so wonderful.
What does it say? It says Calo TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And hey, if you
missing
respond,
something.
We didn't get Jay's shirt.
yeah, but he's got a trendy Hawaiian shirt.
We'll put it in the mail for you, Jay.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
And anybody who's watching, if you guys want to send us an email or something, what should we say? And then we'll send him a shirt.
Yeah.
Can we do this with can the producer? Will you approve that?
Yeah.
Oh,
we
he
got
shakes his
approval.
head.
We put him on the spot.
So you need to. You're the first one. We can't give away a bunch of them because we only have a few for staff.
Yeah.
So if you want to be part of the
You better
podcast
act
staff,
fast. I know.
act fast. Yes. So we're excited to be here. We are actually here at what, Doug? What are
The
we here for?
Endure Prophecy Conference, which is why Jay McCarl, Pastor Jay McCarl, has joined us here today. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure and an honor.
Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I've been in ministry for a while. I started out just out of high school working with Youth for Christ, ended up being Beach Area Director in Orange County, became an assistant pastor in Orange County, and then eventually assistant pastor at a number of churches until we founded a church on a strange little ridge in Northern California known as the Georgetown Divide.
Love it.
Of course, our church is Calvary Georgetown Divide, and people instantly ask what's wrong with your church.
Divided.
So it sounds kind of strange, but it's named after the fact that it's a ridge between two rivers, and that's what it's there. And we've been there for almost 30 years now.
Awesome.
Wow, that's awesome.
So you guys got a connection with the California stuff.
Yeah, he was actually. You were telling me earlier that you actually went to school as a fine art major at Long Beach State.
Cal State Long Beach, that's right. I was in a program for a bachelor's of fine arts in drawing and painting, minor in astronomy, and then the state changed the graduation requirements and I had to go get a degree in something else.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And guess what? I was also in a fine art. I was actually art communications. I was accepted at Long Beach, but I couldn't afford it. So I went to Cal State Fullerton instead, and I quit early.
I
What a
feel
bum.
like all you California guys know each other. Everybody that you meet, or maybe you just know everybody. One or the other.
I don't know.
Well, we know about 40 million people between the two of us. I think it's about right, yeah.
And it's really cool that you used to work with Youth for Christ. I also am involved with Youth for Christ. Love that organization.
Great organization.
Yeah, I love that you've been a part of it. So tell us, what brings you here to the Big Island today?
Well, I've been involved with, actually with Pastor Ron Brav, who is actually hosting this event, with Brent Miller Jr., who has done these documentaries that I've been actually a part of a talking head or a writer on, to be involved with that. So I've been involved with, I had a strong interest all my life in Bible prophecy and especially end times prophecy, and a lot of the study that I do tends to relate to that from kind of a maybe a little bit different manner than the way most people do, and they ask me to come and speak sometimes.
Wow, I'll
What
be
a blessing.
darned.
But you're a world traveler too. I mean, you are traveling in the Middle East and in Greece and in Turkey and
So
where
jealous.
else? I mean, why are you doing all this traveling? What is that part of what you do?
It is. I'm actually a part-time yet full-time pastor at my church. The reason part-time is that I do have permission and blessings from my board to go out and do such things. But I actually run study tours of Israel, usually once, sometimes twice a year. Study tours of Greece and Turkey, which we usually couple together on that one. We'll do extensions into Jordan, all what you would call the Holy Land. We call the Holy Land Israel, but see, there are a lot of other Holy Lands. The Bible took place in a lot of different places.
Right.
And I like to take people there and tell them what happened. You've got the world's greatest backdrop, story illustrations, everything. You're standing right in the middle of where it happened.
Oh, that's
and when
awesome.
you talk about the scripture and then you say, oh, by the way, it happened right here, right here. Oh man, tears, goosebumps, me and the other people, the same thing. It's
I was
amazing.
watching one of your YouTube videos, and you guys were standing at the Jezreel Valley. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Jezreel Valley, and this is where Armageddon is going to take place.
In fact, when we were standing there at the Jezreel Valley, we're standing on a place called Tel Megiddo. Tel means mound. It's just a layer of cities. In that particular case, a layer of 26 civilizations. And at the top, of course, they're you're standing around in ancient ruins that date back to the time of Ahab. So it's really, really old. And where we were standing was actually on the foundations of King Solomon's palace overlooking the Jezreel Valley, or the Valley of Armageddon, with, on the hills in the background, the city of Nazareth.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that part.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Everything is just right there.
You know, I read the Bible. God, you know, shows you this word, and it's beautiful, it's wonderful. But when I'm just watching that YouTube video and it's showing where this biblical event has taken place, is going to take place, it brings it to life for me. Like I was told my wife, I was like, honey, look, this is where Armageddon is going to happen, and he's talking about it. I mean, it just, I can't imagine what your people that go with you on these tours experience seeing these places, the things that they've read about for years, and actually seeing it. Huge impact.
It is. It's a huge impact, and it takes a while to sink in. But if I can tell you a quick story, one of the things that happens with people, and it happened to a very dear friend of mine most dramatically, is that when they go over there and they start seeing the sights and they hear the teachings right out of the scripture on the places, or near the places, as near as we can get to where some of these things happen, people start getting sort of weird thoughts in their head. Now there's a sort of a mental illness called Jerusalem syndrome. We're not talking about that. Okay. We're just talking about, they just say, I feel funny, I feel weird, I cry a lot, I don't know how to feel, I've kind of gone numb, almost like they've been traumatized, and they haven't. What happens is, they have always believed the scripture and the places of scripture. Geography is a #1 part of the Bible. It's really important. But they've always believed these things in faith. And suddenly, it's tangible. Wow. And faith was never meant to be tangible, really, when you think about it. And it's a collision in people's hearts and souls and minds. And after a while, they just say, I don't know what's happening in me. And I said, hey, look, you're just experiencing tangible faith, as it were. I'm not making a doctrinal statement here, but you get the idea of what's going on. Yeah.
You heard that, tangible faith. Let's look that up later.
You should check me for heresy on that one.
That's amazing. I mean, I feel like I'm such a wild
person,
yes, sure. And just, I get excited just reading it, and just, you know, reading up the stories, especially the really wild, grungy stories of the battles that take place.
This guy wants to make R-rated Christian movies, you know.
For all the right reasons, okay? And
you didn't hear that from me.
And the idea of experiencing that, I want to go so bad. You've been, how many times have you been?
I've been to Israel about 30 times. That includes the times that I've gone over to teach at Calvary Bible Institute or Calvary Bible College, or other reasons that I've gone over there as well. So I've led about 26 tours over there. I've probably been over there more than that.
And I've never even been once. When you're there, do you learn something new every time you're there?
Every time. Every time. Sometimes it's something small, and sometimes it's something huge. And if I can digress just a little bit on that, one of the most interesting places to go is Jordan. Jordan, you'd say, well, it's a Muslim country. Is it safe? Yes, it's safe. Is it a Muslim country? Yes, but there is a recognizable population of Christians there that are living in peace at that area. But what's interesting is when you talk to people like real, honest-to-goodness tribal Bedouins. Bedouins, what's the deal with that? These people still live the way that people lived in the times of the Bible. They practice the same traditions, they think with the same logic, and then they start, just say, tell me about your lives, and then you realize it matches the Bible. Wow. And then you do a little more exploration and you realize they have preserved what's in the Bible all these millennia, not just centuries, but millennia. And then when you read the Bible, suddenly you understand things when they talk about tribes or hospitality or things like that are just huge to these people today. And then you understand the biblical context by meeting people who live in the Bible lands today. It's a really amazing experience.
That's unreal.
I have been there, not quite as many as his visits. I've been there once. But it's totally, oh yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, it is really true. The best description I heard is, and I believe it, I don't know, maybe I'm the one who said it, I don't know, but when you go, it brings color to your reading the Bible. All of a sudden, you're reading something about Capernaum, and I was there. Right. Oh, I remember that. Or whatever it might be, Caesarea Philippi. Like, wow. You know,
Goes from black and white to color.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the best way I could describe it. It's really, I mean, I can't
3D
imagine.
IMAX.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
I
that's
love
if you
that.
go 20, 30 times. I
That's
only
right.
went once. So.
Oh, God.
But yeah, it's a great opportunity to go, and we should go. And I think, where's the producer of the show? I think we should just, we're going to decide to take the podcast there.
That'd be
We're there. Did we
amazing.
get the okay? He's ignoring us.
That's
So
smart.
we're getting smart now.
No,
Next week from Caesarea Philippi.
Oh my
How
gosh.
exciting, yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Yes, it would.
So you said 26 layers? When you say 26 layers of civilization in one place, you mean that there were 26 different civilizations throughout the years that lived in that one place?
Yes, exactly. Somebody finds a water source, a little mound, it's sort of defensible. They start a village. The village somehow gets destroyed. Earthquake, violence, burns, whatever. Then they build on top of it using the secondary material. What was left, they'll start rebuilding with that. Next thing you know, it's like a layer cake, 26 layers deep in the case of Megiddo. With Jerusalem, I think it's 18 layers or something like that. It's a lot as well.
Unreal.
Jerusalem is the same way. You can't really see it there as dramatically as at Megiddo, where you can actually see a slice right out of the hillside, which is bad. Archaeologists aren't supposed to do it that way. And you can see all these layers. It's fascinating. You know, and you just wonder what happened to all these people. What happened there over all those
the
years?
history.
Yeah.
Well, because in America, we don't. That doesn't really exist. I mean, the cities that are there now, they've been there. Gosh, some of them since the birth of the nation.
Yeah, really.
So that's a really foreign concept
Right.
to think about.
In fact, what's really fun is when you're driving through Israel or parts of Jordan, Turkey, not so much Greece, even though it's there too, you'll drive past a barren hill that's not particularly large, but it also, when you drive past it, it might be covered with grass or you know, but it's a city, and they're all over the place. You know, in Arab countries they call them talls. In Israel they call them tells. But either way, they're cities. Most of them lie out there in all these different countries, unexcavated. But the real important ones, when they think they have something, they'll start digging down and they'll find like Hazor, which is huge in the Bible, or Megiddo, or someplace else that's mentioned that's got a very famous name.
You know, when you're on these tours, Brent Miller Jr.
Yes.
You've worked with him.
Yes.
Producing, what was the title of it?
Well, we started out with something called The Final Prophecies, where I was actually an interviewee, also known as a talking head, and there were a number of other really good guys in there. But what he did is he followed me around on the next video, which is called Decoding the Future. It's a course, a 10-hour course in the book of Revelation, looking at the book of Revelation the way the people who received the original scroll would have seen it. What did they understand when they opened it up? Because we're standing 2,000 years away, and they open it up and they understand every word of it. What did they understand? And there's a way of going back and saying, we can get a lot of this. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And even so, I'm sorry, what was the question? Hey, you're young, I'm old, okay.
I love it. The question is, how you kind of answered it, how it got started, and then what was that like, you know, combining what you do, which is teaching and pastoring and informing people about the history of Israel, combined with the media element, which is so valuable to be able to share this message. What was that like when you guys collaborated together?
Well, it was amazing. So he took the photos anyway. He filmed me at these various sites in Israel, in Turkey. Turkey is amazing. Israel is Israel, but Turkey is almost as important to visit as Israel. It is safe right now. Things are going very well. That the government is a little critical and things are problems there, but all in all, it's great for tourists, and you want to learn the New Testament there. But it just opens it up, and when you can go there and just even do selfies like I do. I put them up on YouTube under my Jay McCarl channel, and you can, there's sermons up there from my Sunday morning church services, and you wade through all of those, but you can find all of these different selfies taken at actual biblical locations. And then, of course, Brent, he brings his cameras, and boy, he gets the real good stuff. And he'll put it in Decoding the Future. You know, I'll talk about something that happened in the book of Revelation, and it happened in Turkey, and he's got it in Turkey, or something in Israel, and he's got me in Israel. It's really exciting to be able to have somebody follow you around and do that.
Well, that is so cool. So, look, we could be here all day.
Oh, I want to be.
I mean, it's beautiful, the wind, and it's kind of rainy out there.
And the rain.
Yeah. But you got to get ready because you're speaking at this conference today, right?
Tomorrow. Tomorrow, actually,
okay. So, sum it up for us. Give us a little insight of what you're going to be talking about.
Well, I'm going to be talking about how the ancient people that actually received the prophecies of the Bible actually looked at these prophecies. Now, obviously, if I were to try and cover all those prophecies in the Bible, we're going to be here for well over a year, going day and night. So I'm only going to deal with a few of them. But for instance, as I mentioned before, well, here's the book of Revelation. The ink is still wet on the scroll, and John hands it off to somebody in Ephesus, and they open it up and they read it. What's different about what they saw than what we see? It doesn't change end times prophecy, but it gives us new insight into what we're really looking at, because I find that you hear lots and lots of guesses about things like the rapture, or what was the real truth behind the church at Laodicea, or things like that. And well, what did they think about it? Dig into that, and there are ways to find out. Brent recently produced a new movie. It's coming out. It's called Before the Wrath. It's I actually contributed the book material to that, Before the Wrath, and that book is being released along with the movie. And that deals with something that would take, again, a couple of hours to explain, because there's so much detail about how when Jesus talked about his second coming, he had told the disciples, I'm going to die, I'm going to rise, I'm going to go away, but I'm coming back. And when he talked about that coming back and the whole process, he almost always used the illustration of a Galilean wedding. And all of he was a Galilean, all his guys were Galileans. They knew their own weddings. Peter was married. As far as we can tell, he was married anyway. It says Dr. had a mother-in-law, so we presume he was. But they understood their own customs. So Jesus used their own customs to teach them about the end of the world. And so this is kind of the perspective that we're doing. I'm not doing that one this time. That's coming out on the documentary Before the Wrath, with the book, the DVDs, everything else. But how do you get there? That's what I get to talk about tomorrow, and it's going to be really fun. But particularly, I'm going to deal with the rapture. Now, we all know about the rapture. Well, I'll tell you something. There's a lot of people that don't believe it anymore, that are like, baseline Christians, and you go, well, why don't they believe it anymore? They should, and there's something that most Christians overlook about it. I'll be talking about the 24 elders in heaven that are there when the announcement comes that Jesus is about to take possession of the earth again. Who are these guys, and what are they all about? And then I'll be talking about, if I get that far, about the Laodiceans and something to do with that, because they're often perceived as the end times church, and really, I think, very accurately so.
So you have a website and you have a YouTube channel?
Actually, I have a YouTube channel under my name, Jay McCarl, MCCARL.
It's right here on the
It's
bottom
right
of the
here on
screen.
the crawl.
Yeah, it's crawling, yes.
But that's my YouTube channel, and
TV
you
magic,
can,
Doug.
yeah. And I also have a website, jmccarl.com. It's like a devotional site, but it also has information about Israel, Greece, Turkey trips that I do, those sorts of things,
That's great.
and some devotions in there.
Well, you know what, Pastor Jay, just being a lover of media and being the part of the generation that's fed from that and the content that you bring, I'm very grateful for you being at conferences and speaking, and especially doing things with Brent Miller Jr. to bring such an important message for people to understand things about end time prophecy in a medium that the world can receive willingly. It's people are a lot more willing to sit down for an hour and a half movie than they are to do most anything else. So I appreciate what you do and working with different people and collaborating.
We live in a remarkable time, don't we, where you can get a message out, and of this magnitude, and of course Satan can too, and obviously is very much doing that.
Yeah.
But we're not coming in on the wicked one's coattails. This is like we're plowing right through with the truth, and we need to keep it going out there.
Amen.
Okay, so let's end with this, okay?
Okay.
I think, Jay, you probably know when the rapture is going to happen. Go ahead, tell us. Tell
Next
people on
Thursday?
camera. Is it Thursday? You said Thursday? You said Thursday. What day is it going to be?
He's like-
Come on, Jacob.
How wide is a lightning bolt?
I'm saying over here.
Yeah, for those of you who don't understand what we're trying to say here, you don't know when
Yeah,
the rapture.
nobody
Jesus
knows.
even said
Nobody. He said no one knows, and if Jesus said no one knows, and he says I don't even know, I think it's one of the most. I kind of use a very strong word. Vile presumptions of anybody to say that they know more than Jesus.
Amen.
Don't be so down on yourself. Okay. Okay. You could be wrong. No.
Oh gosh.
I totally agree with you, and that's a big problem. And,
It is.
Yeah, it's all about being prepared and being ready. And,
That's right.
And like he says, he's coming in a thief in the night, and if he's coming as a thief, well, you need to be prepared for that.
That's right.
So
Yep.
we're excited. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
One more handshake.
God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh yes, one more handshake.
All right, guys. We'll see See you next time.
From Hilo, Hawaii.